Hi everyone, this is Christina Danforth with HR Jetpack, and I'm so excited to be in Phoenix, Arizona for the 2019 SHRM Education Partners Conference, and I'm here with one of our awesome instructors with HR Jetpack, Dennis Carr. It's an absolute pleasure to see you, Dennis, and have the opportunity to talk with you and pick your brain about a few very important topics that our students and other HR professionals are eager to hear some answers to.
Great.
Right, so let's start with our first question here. You know, Dennis has been teaching for years and is incredibly passionate about the SHRM certification itself. So Dennis, with all the students that you've worked with, what do you feel as though they struggle with the most, and how do you help them overcome it?
I think the biggest challenge by far is the scope of the SHRM body of competency knowledge. None of us in HR these days, as complex as the profession is, on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, practice across the entire scope. And so many HR professionals feel as though this is overwhelming. And so I try and break it down in a way that gets them to understand that they should go with their strengths. And yes, there's all of the best practices and all of the HR, all of the content and the HR behavioral competencies that's important to know, but they don't need to be perfect. Simply being competent and proficient will result in certification. So,
great, wonderful. Right. So, along with those lines, what are some top recommendations that you have for people to pass the exam and to make it happen?
Yeah, well, the SHRM Learning System is the #1 rated curriculum. It's by far the best curriculum to prepare HR professionals to pass the exam. And in particular, taking the competency-based approach as they have, the HR Competencies book and the best practices talked about in the HR Competencies book covers about 50% of one's success on for the test. So I focus a great deal of time on that. I encourage the HR professionals themselves to focus a lot of time on that. I also talk to them in a realistic way. These are HR professionals who are working for 50 and 60-hour work weeks. I'm very transparent and tell them it's a part-time job. That means they're going to have to put in the 8 to 10 hours a week that they would need to put in for a part-time job. But the good news is they get to choose when those 8 to 9 hours are that'll fit into their life for 4 months, and it will result in certification if they commit themselves.
Yeah, it's an absolute commitment. Definitely.
Right.
Great. Thank you. So along with that, speaking of that commitment, what do you feel as though are the biggest benefits to taking an online course?
The biggest benefit by far is they get to decide when it is they're going to dedicate them the time necessary to be prepared to pass the exam. 90 minutes to 2 hours a week is not a huge amount of time if it's a once-a-week course or twice-a-week course. And then they get to decide, are they going to study on a weekend? Are they going to take the practice exam tests in the evenings? Are they going to, and this is a great benefit of HR Jetpack, review the recordings themselves, even if they couldn't participate in the class? So the benefit of online is they can make it fit within their own schedule, meet their needs, as well as participate in real time if they have the ability to do so. And the synchronous online learning format is so much superior to asynchronous online. So I think it's a great opportunity for them to fit it into their lives.
Great, wonderful. That level of flexibility, especially when you have to commit so many hours to preparing for an exam like this. I mean, it's pretty intense commitment. It's no joke.
No. 12 weeks, if you were to space the learning out over 12 weeks, it's 12 times 10, that's 120 hours that I talk to them and realistically in order to be fully prepared to perform their best. So I think that's the approach.
Great. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Dennis, for spending this time with me, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference and also the wonderful weather in Phoenix.
We absolutely will. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, everyone. So long for now.